Hello students, last time we had discussed continuous charge distribution and Gauss's law. Note down few questions based on those topics. I dictate you. Question number 1. Name the different types of continuous charge distributions and define the different charge densities, giving their formulae and SI units respectively. 2 marks. Question number 2. State Gauss law. Full point. In the same question continue. Obtain its general form considering the illustration of a sphere of radius r, small r, which encloses a point charge q, small q, at its center, with the help of a figure. 3 marks. Question number 3 and the last one. Write any 4 important points regarding Gauss law. 2 marks. Okay, now we study the topic applications of Gauss's law. This law can be used for some symmetric charge configurations, and it is possible to obtain the electric field using Gauss law in 3 different cases. The 3 different cases I list up. Number 1 is infinitely long straight uniformly charged wire. Second, uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. And third one, uniformly charged thin spherical shell, which we won't take up in detail. The first 2 cases we take up in detail, and in both the cases we have to calculate the electric field intensity using Gauss's law. First one, field due to an infinitely long straight uniformly charged wire. The wire is uniformly charged, that is very important. We consider an infinitely long thin straight wire with uniform linear charge density lambda, uniform density lambda. Here wire is linear charge distribution, so we consider linear charge density lambda. The wire is an axis of symmetry. Suppose we take the radial vector from O to P and rotate it around the wire. The points P, P dash and P double dash, those points we can refer in the diagram given besides. P, P dash and P double dash in figure A besides are completely equivalent, and the electric field at those points have the same magnitude. Just a minute. Just a minute. Sorry for the inconvenience. Again refer this diagram. Now we go ahead. So at those points P, P dash and P double dash, electric field have the same magnitude. The direction of electric field at every point is radial. Radial word is important. That is outward if lambda greater than 0 and inward if lambda less than 0, as shown in the figure 1.29 a part, that is given besides first figure. Now in this figure, radial electric field. Now we consider another example with the help of second figure, B figure. Now we consider a pair of line elements P1 and P2 of the wire as shown in figure B. The in figure A only. The electric fields produced by the two elements of the pair have to be summed and they give a resultant electric field which is radial. Resultant electric field which is radial. Say P1 and P2, resultant electric field is radial. Just a minute. So resultant electric field radial and the components normal to the radial vector cancel each other. So electric field does not depend on the position of P. Again I repeat, electric field does not depend on the position of P, which is as shown in figure A on the right hand side. Here. Right hand side P point. Resultant electric field with its two component and the resultant arrow is in the middle at point P. Okay. Now we go ahead. considering the second figure now, and from the first figure we have seen the conclusion that the components normal to the radial vector cancel and electric field does not depend on the position of P and its magnitude depends only on the radial distance r, only on the radial distance r, which was shown in figure A. Now we calculate the field considering figure B given besides, which is clear. To calculate the field, we imagine a cylindrical Gaussian surface shown in the form of a cylinder with a dotted line, because we have to imagine, therefore dotted line is shown. Since the field is radial everywhere, flux through the two ends of the cylindrical Gaussian surface is zero. Flux is zero at the two ends. Why? Because vector E perpendicular to delta S vector. This is not given in the description, which I tell you the reason for this. As vector E and delta S vector are perpendicular, implies E delta S cos theta, that is cos 90 degree, equal to 0, and therefore phi equal to 0. Now for the cylindrical part of the surface, E is normal to the surface, vector E is normal to the surface, and at every point its magnitude is constant. Its magnitude is constant, that is vector E will be parallel to delta S vector, which is not written in the description, which I tell you. And as they are parallel to each other, theta equal to 0 degree implies E delta S cos theta means cos 0 degree equal to 1, that is will remain as simply vector E dot delta S vector equal to E delta S magnitude. Now as this magnitude is constant and it depends only on R, it depends only on R. Only on R. Just a minute. It depends only on R. Now the surface area of the curved part is 2 pi RL. Surface area of the curved part 2 pi RL, where L is the length of the cylinder. Now we want to calculate the total flux passing through the Gaussian surface, which can be calculated like this. Which is equal to flux through the curved cylindrical part of the surface. Therefore, phi equal to E into 2 pi RL, because phi equal to E delta S. For delta S, we have substituted 2 pi RL. Now, E into phi equal to E into 2 pi RL, as well as from Gauss theorem, phi equal to q upon epsilon 0, small q upon epsilon 0. So equating phi, we have E into 2 pi RL equal to lambda L upon epsilon 0. That is, for small q, we have substituted lambda L as I have tick marked written besides, and therefore E equal to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon 0 r, making E as the subject of the equation. This equation gives the magnitude of electric field. In the vector form, vector E equal to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon 0 r into n hat vector into n hat. This is the answer which has been tick marked, where n hat is the radial unit vector normal to the wire. Here direction of E vector is, that is electric field direction, is outward if lambda is positive and inward if lambda is negative. Here we have considered the charge enclosed by the surface only. The electric field E vector is due to the charge on the entire wire. Moreover, the wire is infinitely long. Why we have considered like this? Otherwise, we cannot take E vector to be normal to the curved part of the cylindrical Gaussian surface. So this equation, that is equation 1.32 written as answer, is approximately true around the central portions only of a long wire neglecting end effects. Now next topic, that is field due to a uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. Here also we are to calculate the electric field intensity. Refer the figure given besides. Let sigma be the uniform surface charge density of an infinite plane sheet. Here we take x-axis normal to the given plane. Now by symmetry is important. Electric field will not depend on y and z coordinates, and its direction must be parallel to the x direction, Here we consider the Gaussian surface to be a rectangular parallelepiped, of cross-sectional area capital A given besides in the figure. Now as seen from the figure, only two faces, that is 1 and 2, will contribute to the flux, while the other faces do not contribute to the total flux. Why? Because electric field lines are parallel to the other faces. That is phi equal to 0 for those two for the other faces. Next point is the unit vector normal to surface 1 is in negative x direction and the unit vector normal to surface 2 is in positive x direction. Hence, electric flux vector E dot delta S vector are equal through both the surfaces and hence they will add up. Hence, the net flux through the Gaussian surface will be equal to 2EA. 2EA. Now the charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface, that is Q equal to sigma A, small q equal to sigma A. Now we use Gauss law and obtain the necessary formula of capital E vector. Here we see that 2EA equal to sigma A upon epsilon, 2EA equal to sigma A upon epsilon 0. Phi equal to 2EA, which we have seen from the description, and also phi equal to Q upon epsilon 0 from Gauss law. Equating phi on both the sides, that is 2EA equal to sigma A upon epsilon 0, and we have substituted sigma A in place of Q. Sigma A in place of Q, which has been tick marked here. Therefore, capital E equal to sigma upon 2 epsilon 0, which gives the magnitude of electric field. Now, in vector form, capital E vector equal to sigma upon 2 epsilon 0 into n hat. This is the answer which has been tick marked, where n hat is a unit vector normal to the plane and going away from it, going away. The direction of electric field, that is E vector, will be away from the plate or plane if sigma is positive, and towards the plate, that is plane, if sigma is negative. Here also E is independent of x, which is written in the bracket. I have bracketed that line. Conclusion is, for a finite large planar sheet, this equation, that is the answer above in 1.33, is approximately true only in the middle regions, away from the ends, which is away from the ends. So this finishes up this topic, and now we go to the summary of this. To summarize the entire chapter, we shall see some points which I have tick marked in this description and which would turn out to be useful, in your last moment for your last moment revision for the exam. Say point number 4. That is regarding quantization of electric charge, where Q equal to Ne and N stands for 0, plus 1, plus minus 1, plus minus 2 and so on, both plus and minus. And here plus E charge refers proton and minus E electron charge. Next one is additivity of electric charges, that is the total charge of a system is the algebraic sum. Algebraic sum is important, means plus and minus taken together. Next one is conservation of electric charges, that is the total charge of an isolated system remains constant with respect to time, that is unchanged with time. Next one, that is point number 5, Coulomb's law. The statements we have discussed ahead. Here the important words should not be missed, that is two stationary point charges. Two stationary point charges. Vector F21 is there, then R21 hat, that is the unit vector, same numbers for like charges. Value of epsilon 0 and the unit is Coulomb square upon Newton meter square. K value 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton meter square upon Coulomb square. Sixth point, ratio of electric force and gravitational force between proton and electron, that is K square upon capital G MEMP, whose value turns out to be 2.4 into 10 raised to 39, which we have seen in the illustrated numerical ahead. Point number 10, important properties of field lines. Go through that. Which you have discussed previously. Definition of an electric dipole. Definition of an electric dipole. By some distance 2a, dipole moment vector p and its magnitude is 2qa or 2aq. Its direction will be always from minus q to plus q, and its unit will be Coulomb meter. You can take it down besides. That is capital C hyphen small m. Point number 12, electric field intensity vector E formula for electric dipole in its equatorial plane. Special case for R greater than A, which we have also seen in terms of Coulomb's constant. Similarly, for dipole electric field on the axis, first one is for r greater than a minus p vector upon 4 pi epsilon 0 r cube into p hat. P hat is the unit vector in the direction of vector E. On the axis, for r greater than a, vector E equal to 2p vector upon 4 pi epsilon 0 r cube into p hat. So, electric field of dipole depends on 1 upon r cube and that of a point charge on 1 upon r square. Point charge 1 upon r square. Torque formula in the case of a uniform electric field, dipole experiences torque given by tau vector equal to vector P cross vector E. Then point number 14, electric flux delta phi given by delta phi equal to vector E dot delta S vector, and delta S, that is area element, which is a vector quantity, equal to delta S into n hat. Delta S, magnitude of area element, n hat is unit vector normal to the area element. N hat is taken to be the direction of outward normal, that is by convention. Gauss law statement we have seen earlier. And the application of Gauss's law for in the case of a thin infinitely long straight wire, which we have discussed today, that is capital E vector equal to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon 0 r into n hat, that is electric field intensity, where r is the perpendicular distance and n hat is the radial unit vector. Second case, in the infinite thin plane sheet of uniform surface charge density. First one is uniform linear charge density and here uniform surface charge density. So vector E equal to sigma upon 2 epsilon 0 into n hat, where n hat is a unit vector. Normal to the plane outward on either side. So this finishes up the entire chapter. And you can also refer this table for objectives. Different physical quantities from this chapter with their symbols, dimensional formulae, units, SI units, and different formulae, which will be helpful for objective purpose. Now we deal with the exercise numericals. Wait for some time. Yes, now example number 1.1. What is the force between two small charged spheres having charges of 2 into 10 raised to minus 7 coulomb and 3 into 10 raised to minus 7 coulomb placed 30 centimeter apart in air? Question mark. Here first we should write the data by drawing a line on your paper. On right hand side write the data as Q1 equal to 2 into 10 raised to minus 7 C and Q2 equal to 3 into 10 raised to minus 7 C. Small letters Q1 and Q2. Then R equal to 30 centimeter. Now as in static electricity we use SI system because charge is always in coulomb. So 30 centimeter you have to convert in meter, which is equal to 30 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 2 meter equal to 0.3, or 30 upon 100 equal to 0.3 small m. Now substitute those values. You have to calculate in the data itself. You write down capital F equal to question mark. Now according to Coulomb's law, magnitude of force capital F equal to K Q1 Q2 upon R square. Substituting the value of Coulomb's constant, which generally would be given in the question paper, or you have to consider 9 into 10 raised to 9 and substitute the values of Q1, Q2 and R, and the simplified on simplification the answer of F will turn out to be 6 into 10 raised to minus 3 Newton, that is capital N. Now force we have calculated. Force is a vector quantity, so this is the magnitude. And now regarding direction, here as two charges are like charges. Why like charges? Because both the charges Q1 and Q2 values are positive only, plus 2 and plus 3. And so above force will be repulsive. Like charges and repulsive, which I have underlined also. Now example 1.2. The electrostatic force on a small sphere of charge 0.4 mu c due to another small sphere of charge minus 0.8 mu c in air is 0.2 n, capital N. What is the distance between the two spheres? That is question number A part. Solution of A part. According to Coulomb's law, we have F equal to K Q1 Q2 upon R square. Now force is given here. Substitute its value minus 0.2 and all the values given of Q1, Q2 and K as 9 into 10 raised to 9. And now making R square as the subject of the equation. We have considered minus 0.2 in the case of force capital F because F is attractive. So its value is taken as negative, which I have tick marked. Attractive and negative. So R square value will be equal to 144 into 10 raised to minus 4 meter square and therefore R equal to 12 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter. If you write this much will do, or this is equal to 0.12 meter. Final answer. B part. What is the force on the second sphere due to the first? We see the explanation, part B. Here Coulombian force on second sphere due to first sphere is also 0.2 Newton. That is same answer. And attractive in nature, because this is the reason. Electric force is a two-body force. The answer is electric force is a two-body force. This is the reason for the answer being same, 0.2 Newton, because electric force is a two-body force exerted mutually with equal magnitude and opposite directions. Now example 1.8. 2-point charges QA equal to 3 mu c and QB equal to minus 3 mu c are located 20 cm apart in vacuum. A part. What is the electric field at the midpoint O of the line AB joining the two charges? Question mark. Now we refer the figure. We have to draw the figure in the exam. A and B are two charges shown. A is positively charged and B is negatively charged, that is plus 3 and minus 3. Say point C is the midpoint of those two charges and the direction of the electric field between point C and A and point C and B both are along the positive x direction, shown on right hand side, shown towards the right hand side, ECA vector and ECB vector. The distance between the two charges is 20 centimeter. So from the midpoint it will be 10 centimeter on either sides, that is towards left and towards right from point C, as shown in the figure. That is towards A point it will be 0.1 meter, which we have converted in MKS, and again 0.1 meter towards point B, that is RCA and RCB denoted in the figure. Now we have to calculate electric field at point C due to QA. So vector ECA equal to KQA upon RCA square into I hat. I hat because in vector form and it is the positive x direction from A to C. Direction is from A to C, which I have tick marked. Equation 1. Similarly, electric field at point C due to QB, that is vector ECB equal to KQB upon RCB square into I hat, that is from C to B. We get both the formulae from the general formula of point charges to calculate capital E vector for point charges. E equal to KQ upon R square. Here ECB vector equal to ECA vector, because mod QA equal to mod QB and RCA equal to RCB. Just a minute, wait for some time. Now we continue ahead. Therefore, resultant electric field at point C, that is EC vector, equal to vector ECA plus vector ECB, which is equal to 2 ECA vector from equation number 2. That is, for ECB we can substitute ECA, where I have tick marked. Now this is equal to 2 times into bracket. For EC we are substituting its formula KQA upon RCA square into I hat. Now substituting all the values in the above equation, we get the simplified form as EC vector equal to 5.4 into 10 raised to 6 Newton per Coulomb, capital N by capital C, into I hat. I hat because EC vector notation is there. This is the final answer of electric field intensity, and its direction will be from QA to QB. That is also to be mentioned, as electric field intensity is a vector quantity. 5.4 into 10 raised to 6 its magnitude, and from QA to QB is its direction. Now part B. If the part B is given in the slide ahead. Question is, if a negative test charge of magnitude 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 9 Coulomb is placed at this point, comma, what is the force experienced by the test charge? We see its solution. Electric force exerted on QC placed at C. C, that is the midpoint of AB line. Now FE equal to QC into EC. Vector FE, that is because of electric force, FE is written, and EC vector, that is at point C, because general formula of force due to electric field is given by F equal to Q into capital E. Now substituting the value of QC which is given in the data, that is 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 9, and EC answer which we have brought in part A, which has to be correct to make this correct. Therefore FE equal to 8.1 into 10 raised to minus 3 Newton into I hat, because force is a vector quantity and its direction will be from QA to QB. That also has to be written. Now example 1.9. A system has two charges, QA equal to 2.5 into 10 raised to minus 7 Coulomb and QB equal to minus 2.5 into 10 raised to minus 7 Coulomb, located at points A coordinate 0, 0 minus 15 centimeter and B 0, 0 plus 15 centimeter respectively. What are the total charge and electric dipole moment of the system? Here also two sub questions are asked. We have to draw the diagram as given below, which is necessary. Refer the diagram. Along plus z axis QB minus charge, because its value is minus RB coordinates position vector. Similarly, on the lower side negative z axis positive charge QA plus value of charge position vector RA vector coordinates written, and now plus x below and minus x above. Now to calculate the total charge of the system, that is Q equal to QA plus QB. So we add the two given charges and that will be equal to 0 because the magnitude is same but one is plus and the other is minus. So final answer will be equal to 0. Answer number 1 is written here, which I have written here. Now second sub part is to calculate the electric dipole moment of the system. So electric dipole moment of given dipole, small p vector equal to 2a vector into q, which is equal to position vector r of plus charge minus r of minus charge into small q, which is equal to vector RA minus vector RB shown in the diagram above into q. So we substitute the value of RA vector and RB vector into the value of charge, that is of plus q 2.5 into 10 raised to minus 7 coulomb. So therefore small p vector equal to 0 0 minus 0.3 on simplification in the z coordinate into 2.5 into 10 raised to minus 7, and this will lead to P magnitude equal to 7.5 into 10 raised to minus 8 coulomb meter, that is capital C small m. You can put an hyphen in between, and its direction will be along minus z axis, along minus z axis. That also has to be written. Answer number 2, which I have marked here. Just a minute. Now we go through the next sum, that is example 1.10. This one of an electric dipole. An electric dipole with dipole moment 4 into 10 raised to minus 9 coulomb meter is aligned at 30 degree with the direction of a uniform electric field of magnitude 5 into 10 raised to 4 Newton per coulomb. Calculate the magnitude of the torque acting on the dipole. This is a small numerical, can be asked for 2 marks also. To calculate the torque and its magnitude only, tau, vector tau equal to small p vector cross vector E. Therefore, tau equal to Pe sin theta, its magnitude, or it can be written as Ep sin theta also, but tau equal to Pe sin theta, which I have tick marked here, which is equal to, substitute its values of P, that is given, dipole moment, that is P, and E value is given, 5 into 10 raised to 4, P is 4 into 10 raised to minus 9, and theta aligned at 30 degrees, so sine 30 degree. Now value of sine 30 degree is 1 by 2, and on simplification this will lead to tau equal to 10 raised to minus 4 Newton meter. Answer, and its direction will be in the direction of vector P cross vector E. Here only magnitude is asked, so on tau arrow is not written, arrow is not shown, and which will be equal to 10 raised to minus 4 Newton meter. Now example number 1.11. A polythene is rubbed with wool is found to have a negative charge of 3 into 10 raised to minus 7 C. A part, estimate the number of electrons transferred, and in bracket from which to which. Two answers have to be written for part A. Now solution we refer. Part A, when n number of electron gets transferred from wool to polythene, it gets negative charge. Now according to quantization of charge, we have the formula Q equal to minus Ne, small e, where E equal to magnitude of charge of one electron, making capital N as the subject of the equation equal to minus Q upon E, and Q value is given here in data 3 into 10 raised to minus 7, but approximately for cancellation we take, easy for simplification, we take it as 3.2 upon 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19, that is the value of fundamental charge, that is of 1 electron, which you have to remember by heart. Therefore, n equal to 2 into 10 raised to 12, which is the answer. Now, in bracket it is asked from which to which, means you have to write that electron gets transferred from wool to polythene, which I have underlined in the second line of the sentence, wool to polythene. So polythene gets negative charge while wool becomes positively charged. Wool to polythene. Now B part, is there a transfer of mass from wool to polythene? Yes, answer is yes. Now answer with reasoning. Here capital N number of electrons are transferred from wool to polythene. Here wool loses mass of capital N number of electrons, and polythene gains mass of n number of electrons. Hence mass transferred in this process equal to capital N into me. Now capital N value we have calculated in part A, which is equal to 2 into 10 raised to 12, which has to be correct, into mass of electron, which will be given in the question paper. Otherwise you have to remember by heart 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 kg. Generally it will be given, which is equal to 1.82 into 10 raised to minus 18 kilogram kg, which is the final answer. Above mass is negligibly small because of the order of 10 raised to minus 18 kg. Just wait for a while. Now example 1.17. Careful measurement of the electric field at the surface of a black box indicates that the net outward flux through the surface of the box is 8 into 10 raised to 3 Newton meter square upon Coulomb. A part, what is the net charge inside the box? B part, if the net outward flux through the surface of the box were 0, could you conclude that there were no charges inside the box? Why or why not? Now we see its solution. See, according to Gauss law, we have phi equal to q upon epsilon 0. So making q as the subject equal to phi into epsilon 0. Phi value is given in data. Substitute 8 into 10 raised to 3 and epsilon 0 value as constant, which would be provided in the question paper, or you have to remember by heart, generally provided, that is 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12. And therefore on simplifying, small q equal to 7.08 into 10 raised to minus 8 Coulomb. That is the answer. Now part B. We have to here it is asked that net outward flux to the surface of the box were 0. Could you conclude that there were no charges inside the box? Now again using Gauss theorem, phi dash equal to q dash upon epsilon 0. Here phi dash equal to 0 implies q dash equal to 0, as it is directly proportional. This is the answer of the first part of B. Now why or why not? Now that description explanation can be given like this. Given box might contain equal amount of unlike charges whose net charge is 0. Say if it contains unlike charges, say for example plus 5 Coulomb and minus 5 Coulomb written sideways, which have been slightly cut down. Example plus 5c and minus 5c will again algebraic sum will lead to 0. Thus when q dash equal to 0, it is not necessary that it does not contain any charge. It may contain charge also, but then it has to be unlike charges and of equal amount, so that algebraic sum will be equal to 0. Now this is the last example which we take up, example 1.23. An infinite line charge produces a field of 9 into 10 raised to 4 Newton per Coulomb at a distance of 2 centimeter. Calculate the linear charge density. Now as per the data, here at a distance of 2 centimeter, means that, and field of 9 into 10 raised to 4 Newton per Coulomb. So that gives capital E equal to 9 into 10 raised to 4 Newton per Coulomb, and by C small r equal to 2 centimeter equal to, converting it into meter, equal to 2 upon 100 or 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter equal to 0.02 small m. Lambda equal to question mark. So means we have to calculate lambda, which is the linear charge density. So formula is electric field at perpendicular distance r from an infinitely extended uniform line of charge is given by E equal to 2k lambda upon r in terms of Coulomb's constant. K is Coulomb's constant. We have converted the general formula of capital E into Coulomb's constant, because capital E equal to lambda upon 4 pi epsilon 0 r, which we have seen earlier. That is the standard form in the case of a uniformly charged wire. E equal to, again I repeat, E equal to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon 0 r. Now in terms of K, because K equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0, so we can write it as E equal to 2k lambda upon r, making lambda as the subject of the equation. Lambda equal to ER upon 2k equal to E value substituted 9 into 10 raised to 4, r equal to 0.02 upon 2 into k value as 9 into 10 raised to 9, which generally would be given in the question paper, otherwise you have to remember by heart. This on simplification leads to lambda equal to 10 raised to minus 7 Coulomb upon meter, that is capital C upon small m is the final answer. And that ends this chapter thoroughly. That's all for today.